Hello to my Aquarius family. I am here today to give you your message for May 2025. So we're going to go through three aspects that are really important for the month of May. And then I'm going to pull some tarot for every week so that you have like the download of what's going on with that. Okay. So starting off is May 4th, we have the Pluto retrograde. The Pluto retrograde will be taking place until October 12th. It has a way of whipping you into shape. It's kind of addressing the parts of your life and of your situations around you that you've been trying to avoid, like a bad habit. And it's kind of like, no, honey, it's time for you to really step up to the plate and do what you know that you're supposed to do from the beginning. So keep that in mind, because sometimes this Pluto retrograde has a way of making things pretty difficult. Okay, so that being said, let me take out some charms. Oh, Aquarius, always, always, always the craziness. You do have a tower here. We also have the energy of Manas, which is the man. Let's just double check that we got that correct. No, Iwas, and Iwas is movement, but it's sideways. So it's like maybe I'm going to think about moving. To the left is things from the past. To the right is things from that are going to happen in the future. And the ones closest to me are closer timeline. The ones farther away are farther away timeline. Okay. If you notice, a lot of stuff is happening. It's crazy. So starting off with the farthest left. So this is what happened a long time ago. And we have a turn off of your intuition because the owl is actually backwards. So it's talking about being blindsided to something. Okay. So now let's go through what's happening in the timeline here. And then you were blinded. And then we have this energy of, and now you can see, because now we got another owl. So blind, and now we can see. So there was something that took you for a loop. You didn't see it before, and then all of a sudden slaps you across the face like, holy crap. Okay. And then we have the energy of the two dolphins, but they are backwards. What you didn't see that now you see is the fact that you were connected to soul family that was actually not soul family. Okay, so these are people that wore masks pretending that they were people that loved you, that cared about, that want to be around you, blah blah blah, whole mess of stuff, and you got slapped in the face with the reality of these people were only with me because of what they can take from me and what I was giving to them, not because they loved me or cared for me or whatever. This is a harsh reality. Okay. Now, what I'm seeing is that after that, we have the dinosaur. And so this is actually a karmic pattern that you're going through. This is, when I'm saying karmic pattern, it's a lesson that you came to learn in this lifetime. The reason you came to learn it is because you repeat the same cycle in other lifetimes. Like you keep doing this, right? And so this lifetime, it came back for you to really address the problem. In the spiritual realm, this is what they're telling you is you have the anchor with the wheel together. And so gold gold charms are talking about things that have to do with your subconscious or with your spiritual self. And so this revelation that slapped you across the face, that hurt your heart, that you realize that these people were not your soul family, that they didn't care about you, they didn't want you, blah blah blah, whole mess of stuff, was actually the reason it revealed to this is because this is a cycle you're stuck in, and you've been stuck in the spiritual realm. Like you couldn't turn the wheel into something new. You kept doing the same thing. You were like anchored into a false reality. So the reason, if you had a question, if this hasn't happened to you, just keep this in mind, okay? Because it might happen to you soon, because it's the closest one towards me. If it has already happened, let me explain. The reason why you had to get slapped across the face with the situation was because that's the only way that you're going to wake up, right? Sometimes if you gradually tell a person, hey, blah, 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 and you're being nice, the person creates a lot of narratives in their minds and justifications as to why it is not true or why, oh, blah, 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 or they're just saying this or whatever, right? But if you slap them across the face with the truth, they have that first initial shock. They go through all the stages of mourning and then they wake up. And so That's why that happened, right? What I find interesting is the center energy right here, because it's a cluster F of a whole mess of stuff. One of the first things is EWAS sideways. That means that you're not sure if you want to change. That's acceptable. We don't have to do anything, right? But then what I'm seeing is these two together, right? This is, I call him my broke horse, right? And the reason I say that is because he's moving quickly, because he's running, but there's 5 pentacles on his back. 5 of Pentacles is the energy of abandonment and energy of lack. And we have the energy right next to it of the 4-leaf clover. And what I'm hearing is that, fine, you don't want to move, that's fine. But one of the things that are going to happen if you don't move is a lack of your resources. You will be pushed. And that's what happens with the age of Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? We're entering the age of Aquarius. We're there. When this is a transition period, we are going through it till 2100. You will be pushed, right? And so as I'm looking at that energy, it's kind of like, okay, so one of the first pushes that you're going to have is a lack of resources. Your money's going to go down. And then we have over here the crab backwards, right? So that also feels like is it backwards? Yeah, it was backwards. This is talking about it will not affect, I want to say, the foundations you've created. So what you have is just no more luck for more money and more resources to come in. And then we have the energy of Leo, which is interesting because this is telling me that Leo season might be super important for you, which is around August, right? July, August, right? That energy might be super important to you. Something impactful might be happening at that time that might affect you big time. All right. But also the energy of a Leo might be strongly affecting you. And Leo had this next to him, which is the energy of another dinosaur. And so the first dinosaur is looking back, but this dinosaur is looking forward. And what it feels like is that it will, if you don't do something about the situation, this karmic cycle that you have with a Leo, or a karmic cycle that you might experience during Leo season, will be your repeating cycles until you choose to move. All right. I know this is complicated. You got to follow me through. You can listen to this a few times because it's going to be a lot of information. The next thing following that is if you choose to move forward, we have the energy of a key. This is getting access, an opportunity to move forward. Okay. If you choose. The thing is that interesting about the key is there's a crossroads, the left and the right. Okay. The left crossroad is this energy of a tower moment with Kesara. So this is an emotional upheaval, okay, that creates a destruction of your way of being, feeling, expressing with the energy of Aries. So that's one choice. One choice that you have is to have a breakdown of your emotions, because there's going to be a like authority figure, like a sense of like a leader, things like that, because Aries is that energy strongly impacting your life emotionally, which is going to cause a lot of tower moments that would create a situation where you're heartbroken, things are not fair, and you feel like the whole world is against you over and over and over and over again until you choose to move. Now in the right, it is the grapes, right? But they're backwards. So that is telling me that if you choose to go the opposite direction, I'm not seeing fruitful yields from that. All right. I'm not really sure why. Okay. So we have another rune that came out, but this one came out in a direction. It's Perth, and Perth is talking about an initiation. And then we have a golden feather. Okay. So the reason why you're not going to have turnarounds right away is because you're just initiating a transformation of your spirit to a lighter spirit. And this is understandable, because if you've been stuck in this karmic cycle so many lifetimes, okay, you keep doing the same thing so many lifetimes, it's not like, oh, I made the right choice and boom, light switch, everything works out. No, you have to like go through the process of cleaning the dishes, doing your laundry, cleaning out all the ugly as initiation to move forward. And I think that's the reason many people do not go for the spiritual path and then usually pick the darker path, because the darker path is easier. It's easier in the short run, is worse in the long run, right? But people don't remember the long run. They just know that they wake up in a reality where they're being abused and their life is terrible and they're broke and they're suffering, but they don't know what they're suffering for or why. Okay? Keep that in mind. In the short run, it's great. In the long run, you pay every single thing you do. Okay? That was a long one, sorry. So let's go on with the full moon on the 12th. That will be in the sign of Scorpio. Mercury will be in Taurus, and there'll be a square in Pluto in Aquarius during that time. That energy is god-awful. I wouldn't do rituals of anything there except for purification, cleansing, and protection. 3 days before, 3 days after, 7 days in total, I would create a bubble of protection around myself, because since the energy is so, I want to say, dark, there is a potential of somebody somewhere being jealous, envious, angry, upset with you, and that energy whiplashing its way towards you and then negatively impacting your life. So it's nice. What is it? The best offense is a great defense. That's what I can tell you about that. All right. Tell me about that one from Aquarius. Woo, woo. You see, this is what I'm saying. Look, third eye. Somebody's sending you the evil eye. 7 of Swords. That's an attack, deception. 4 of Earth, feeling disappointed, burdened, and stuck. I mean, there goes my clarification of what that moon is. Protect yourself so these things won't happen to you. Okay. New moon on the 26th of May will be better. That one is in the sign of Gemini. Mercury will be in Gemini, which talks about a lot of connections, networking, growth, expansion, communication. And also there's a sextile in Neptune in Aries, which is all about communication also in the spiritual realm. So it's a great day to create a stronger bond with your spiritual team, create a communion with them. Also, it's a great day for you to speak into existence something that you would like to manifest. So it's a great manifestation day. Okay. So what can we tell Aquarius about that? Mm-hmm. So the first thing that we're seeing is the card of the 8 of Pentacles, literally telling you that it's time for you to withdraw from the world and invest time on prayer, contemplation, healing. The second is the card of sacrifice, and this is learning to temper your energy, sacrifice time for the spiritual realm as you start to grow in wisdom. So literally they're telling me, hey, like spend a little time with me so we can give you some wisdom. Right here, the underliner of this card is the card of disruption. Yes, I was going to say deception, but what I'm feeling is the energy of your energy is very scattered at this moment. And so in the month of May, there's a possibility for your energy to be very scattered because of these placements. So keep that in mind and try to stay grounded during the month of May. Now let's go through the weeks. First week. Yes, I like to shuffle the cards in front of everybody so they can see that I'm moving them. So first week, 3 cards only. Wow, this is interesting. So we have the energy of the Witch of Threes, which is the Queen of Wands. We have the energy of Death. And we have the energy of the King of Stones. There is a I this can involve you, or this can be involving people around you. There is an ending to a connection between a person of fire and a person of earth. Okay, so this can be a person that's very fiery personality, action oriented, blah blah blah, to a person that is very, I want to see, worldly, where they're I heard entrepreneurs, but they're also very materialistic, right? And so there's a huge slicing of the apple between them two. I also find this interesting because the way these laid out and the way that they fell on the ground was this way. So it's kind of like one has the energy of the sun, the other one has the energy of the moon, and the sun is towards the female, the moon is towards the male energy here. So it's this can also be a soul death in your part, where your divine feminine fiery energy is being activated while your materialistic masculine energy is being turned off, right? And so there's a switching, a changing of the guards for you, where your energy is going to be more on creation and movement forward. um Second week, that's interesting how those cards talk to me. Witch of the water, that is the Queen of Cups. And then that continues with the King of Skies, which is the King of Air. And then this one's called Tradition, which is the Hierophant, number 5. See, this is interesting because there's in this energy is talking a lot about your duality. It might be many different people, but these people are just representations of you. It's your duality. You might be fighting with Joe Schmo and Lindsay Lou and Jackie Chan and Alicia Keys. I'm just giving random names. You might be arguing with these types of people, but the reality is that you're actually fighting with versions of them that are inside yourself, okay? Because here we have, again, a male and a female energy. The female overly emotional, the male overly analytical. So your masculine energy, your internal masculine energy has been cold, calculated, I want to say narcissistic and somewhat evil. And your feminine energy has been overly emotional, overly explosive. And what is happening is this energy of your masculine energy taking a rain check and getting turned off as your feminine energy is coming through, where you're finally divulging all these emotions you're holding inside yourself, and you're finally taking action towards them because there's a change of your belief systems, there's a change of your foundation. Okay. um Third week, this seems very spiritual, so whoever's not getting it, this might not be your reading. The first card that flew out all in the side here is the Justice card in reverse. There is something out of balance, which I'm seeing here. Your divine masculine, feminine energy are totally out of whack. And then we have these 3 cards that flew out. Then we have the 8 of Skies. You are actually trapped in a construct of your own making of your mind. 9 of Stones, because you have been focusing on your creating monetary wealth. Like your focus has been material. And here with the 3 of Skies, that has actually led you to a lot of heartbreak. And so the imbalance is you've been of the world, and they're wanting to you to be of the spirit. And if we go back to the initial reading of the Pluto retrograde, that is what I saw. You were stuck in a karmic cycle because you were repeating the same cycles, because you were focused on just what you couldn't obtain in this reality at this moment. Then you were being born again in poverty, in lack, in rape, in incest and negative energies and everything worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, that it's because you keep doing this cycle of continuing to pick, I want to say, the wrong side, which is lowering your frequency. And what I can tell you by my spiritual standards, and I want to say the things that I've been guided to, and your spiritual team speaks to you to the level of your own understanding. They will not give you high school information if you are a kindergartner, okay? But what they explained to me is that this cycle of reincarnation cycles through until the spark of God juice that is inside of you, that initiated the growth and expansion, no longer exists inside of you. And that will be the last time you incarnate. And then you will be nothing. And you will be the wandering souls that we have outside. There's so many. It's like you're walking outside, there are parasites all over the place, like roaches. And these spirits that are entities, they're humans that the batteries just died. But the thing that I was telling you is this thing that people call demons are actually just souls, people. They used to be humans that have literally sold their soul to the earth, the energy of earth, to earthly things, and they no longer have the spark. And then they become crazy, and then they become vindictive in spirits, and then they start degrading to the point where they're monsters. And they're monsters because it's the most, I want to say, primal energy of the human race, right? So they become the ugliest versions of humans, right? And then that's what they call demons. But they were, it's not an entity that is so magnificent, blah, 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 whole mess of stuff. It is an actual human that has lost their shit, okay? And so what I'm saying here is try not to turn into that. That's all I can say. Okay, fourth week. The first thing we have is number 21 is the land. Yes, it's literally saying this is a world card. It's the cycles, the cycle that you've been stuck on for forever. And then we have strength card. And it's telling me that the month of May will be one that's going to challenge you very strongly, because you're going to have to confront your animalistic instincts and not fall into the pattern of one of the 7 deadly sins, and not all, one of the patterns of the darker energies that are inside of you, and transcend that energy into something better. And then the third card that comes out is the Lover's card. This is all about a choice. You know, the bottom of the deck is talking about the Fool, and this is like you're being given the opportunity to start a new cycle. Your ancestors, 10 of Waters, are helping to collaborate with you, 3 of Cups, so that, I mean, 3 of Pentacles, because they are trying for you to become the Emperor energy by reclaiming your heart, which is your spark. I feel like I know this is going to sound weird, but I feel like I'm giving a warning to somebody, because you're like, this is your last incarnation. Whoever this is that I'm talking to is your last incarnation. And if you um can't readjust your energy, you'll be one of these wandering souls, these parasites on planet Earth that are soon going to be extinguished. But keep that in mind, okay? I hope this helps you.